Hi everybody, I'm Joel Wood, your lobbyist in Washington from the right.
And I'm Joel Kopperud from the left, your other lobbyist in Washington.
You're looking awfully scruffy. How was your August break there?
Really nice. It was a long break. We needed it.
So you're going to shave it off when Elizabeth Warren locks up the nomination? Is that your deal?
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, God. So let's talk about what's going on. Congress is back in session after a 6-week break. We've got some opportunities. They get more limited the closer we get to the actual presidential election itself, and just the ability for the sides to come together. And primarily, we have been working on prescription drug issues, and in particular, the surprise medical billing.
Yeah, so all the action right now, no surprise here, I don't think, is in the House. The House is, their first leadership's priority right now is to keep pressure on the Senate to do something on guns. That will be short-lived, but it's going to be a lot of pressure if you haven't already heard that. Next, I think, is going to be the drug pricing plan that we're expecting to come out of the Speaker's office. We were hoping to see that last week, probably this week, but it's going to be government price controls on, I think, 250 some odd drugs.
Go nowhere.
It will go nowhere in the Senate, but it's a plan that will probably be picked up under a Democratic administration if that happens next year. But what could actually happen this year, which we've been saying for a while, is surprise medical billing. So they've been a big focus on reining in costs. We saw the Senate health bill get kicked out in June, which is all about transparency, and that's a really comprehensive approach to reining in costs. We don't think that's going to go anywhere, but one piece of that could go somewhere is the surprise medical billing element. We're seeing that meander its way through the House, and everyone supports banning the balance bills to consumers, and that's consistent across the board. The hang-up is whether or not the discrepancy goes to arbitration or whether or not there's a benchmark rate set by the average rate insurance
So
companies.
that divide is between the physicians and the hospitals and the providers and the insurers and the employers.
Right, and we saw the doctors come unglued over the past 6 weeks when Congress was...
One of the most obnoxious things that I've ever seen in Washington is the $28 million ad blitz by a dark money group that turns out to be backed by physician staffing organizations that are hedge fund backed. These are the folks that provide the very emergency room docs, anesthesiologists, and radiologists that are at the core of this problem. And so there couldn't be a more stark difference between people who are getting screwed by surprise bills and those who are profiting from them.
Right.
And so can we get to the finish line on this? I don't know.
I think we can. So I had an interesting dinner in San Francisco with two senators, and they indicated that they were most of their colleagues they thought were with us, the insurance community, but the pushback they were getting from the doctors groups at the grassroots level over August was significant, and that was going to rein it in. But there's a price for this, for the bill, and Congress is going to pass something at the end of the year, must pass legislation that needs revenue to pay for, particularly the tax extenders piece. And this scores, the benchmark version of surprise medical billing scores positively. So we're optimistic that something could be folded in if for no other reasons.
I'm going to completely pivot. Because speaking of continuing resolutions and keeping the government running, the flood insurance program is about to expire here in another couple of weeks, September 31st. All they're going to do on that is kick the can down the road with another short-term extension as we hopefully look for something that would be broader reforms that could make the private marketplace more viable. Likewise, we're going into next year and we're setting the stage. Hearings are taking place, and we've got very active conversations in the House and the Senate with the Financial Services Committee and the Senate Banking Committee on the extension of the Terrorism Risk Insurance Act. And your favorite issue,
Cannabis.
The weed.
Cannabis. It's happening. So we're hearing good progress. There, we expect to vote in the House within the next couple of weeks. We've got the votes for it to pass, assuming everyone shows up to vote, and that's critical, obviously. But so we expect to vote in the next couple of weeks, and good green lights in the Senate. It looks like it's going to go through, or there's going to be a markup in Senate Banking Committee. We heard in the next couple of months, which is a very big deal considering Senator Crapo was never really on board with marijuana. And even the administration.
A lot of this is a political intervention of Senator Cory Gardner, who is considered by many to be among the most vulnerable members of the Senate. He is wildly popular within the Republican conference. And in Colorado, this is a must-pass issue for him.
It is a must-pass issue, and this is not, from the lead sponsors, they want to be very clear that this is not a marijuana bill, this is a public safety bill. The bill that we're talking about would just allow, it's the SAFE Act, it would just allow financial services to get involved in the industry so that these businesses aren't just cash-only businesses that are, you know, susceptible to money laundering risks, to terrorism risks, to all the crime that's associated with a full cash business. It's just getting money off the books. It's a public safety bill, and that's why it's got so much bipartisan support. When you start talking about descheduling it and really allowing for securitizing and, like, you know, some of the other, you know, financial services markets to come in and blow up the industry, that doesn't have the support that the Safe Banking Act has.
So with that, that's a pretty decent synopsis of the stuff that has legs in Congress. We are working hard and looking forward to our Insurance Leadership Forum coming up at the Broadmoor in just a few weeks with an incredible lineup of speakers and programs, and wish everyone a great fall.
Thank you.
Thanks.